Over the past year, a disaster that was once largely ignored by the media and denied by government officials, you saw some, has become a scandal, a tragedy, rightly making headlines around the world. On the day that Curt Guyette's Hillman Prize was announced, the first criminal charges were filed against officials linked to the Flint cover-up. Others will almost certainly confront the same fate. Long before the story made national headlines, Guyette explored the impact on residents of the disastrous decision by Michigan to take Flint off Detroit's regional water system and instead use the Flint River. He tied the decision to the state-appointed emergency managers who held near dictatorial power, you saw, over an impoverished city of 100,000 people, a majority African American. It was that stripping of democratic accountability inherent in Michigan's emergency manager law that led the Michigan ACLU, with a grant from the Ford Foundation, to create a new position and bring on veteran investigative reporter Guyette to report on the repercussions of this law that puts these so-called emergency managers in complete control of financially struggling cities, school districts, counties, usurping the power of local elected officials. Guyette worked for 18 years at the Detroit Metro Times as investigative reporter, columnist, news editor. Along with a deep-seated irreverence toward the powerful, his work has been shaped by compassion for the underdog and unshakable belief in progressive politics and a relentless desire to see justice, be it social, economic, or environmental, served. Those values served him well in this newly created and innovative position in nonprofit journalism. At a time, and you've heard it from many tonight, at a time when newsrooms are being downsized, budgets slashed, we need such innovative approaches to journalism. Maybe the crisis in Flint demanded that an advocacy organization step in and hire a veteran investigative journalist locally to get to the core of the story. The national media was AWOL for too long. The arrangement, of course, has spurned some skepticism. The Pulitzer Committee told Guyette he was not eligible because he worked for an advocacy organization. Well, the Michigan Press Association recognized him as Journalist of the Year. Take that, Pulitzer Committee. What Guyette knows, and he said this, is, quote, we must make sure that our work is accurate, credible, and able to stand up to the most intense kind of scrutiny. And if we do that, whatever other people might want to label it, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still a reporter doing what a reporter does. And for the poisoned children of Flint, for the city's working class and poor people who Guyette says share the credit for exposing this abuse, for those who persevered by refusing to remain silent, relentlessly searching to find allies who would tell their story, and ultimately help them overcome the massive obstacles in their way, may advocacy journalism of rigor, quality, accuracy, credibility, and humanity be honored this evening with the Hillman Prize.
Thank you to the Hillman Foundation. My paternal grandfather, who was a typesetter in a print shop at a newspaper in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, was the president of his local union, and nothing came into the house unless it had a union label, so he would be especially proud for me to be getting a Hillman Award. I need to thank Carrie Moss, the executive director of the ACLU of Michigan, and others on the team there that came up with the idea of hiring an investigative reporter, and for the Ford Foundation for being willing to fund what, in essence, was an experiment. That documentary that you saw pieces of, we released that in June of last year. And because of that, when a water expert for the US EPA leaked an internal memo raising the alarm about the potential for a lead crisis in Flint, the woman he gave it to, Leanne Walters, gave it to us because she believed that we would be willing to tell the truth and to follow this story. When we published that memo, the reaction of the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality was to say that there was no lead problem in Flint and that the people of Flint should really just, quote, relax. At that point, then, we had a he said, she said story on our hands, which, I hate. And the question was, well, how do we get to the truth? And the solution was to form a unique collaboration. Professor Mark Edwards from Virginia Tech, who had uncovered the lead crisis in Washington, D.C., and a small coalition of citizens, of African-American pastors group, 2 white moms, and 2 African-American activists. We all worked together to do something unprecedented, which was to conduct a citizen-led study of Flint's water on our own, because we didn't believe what the government was saying when they claimed that the water was safe. We're going to test the water, and we're going to find out the truth about what's in it. And that's what we did. And even after that, the state continued to deny it, but eventually they could no longer deny it, and Flint was allowed to go back to the Detroit system. These emergency managers can do just about anything. The law explicitly describes the one thing that they cannot do. The one thing they cannot do is miss a bond payment. No matter what, the bondholders get paid, even if it means poisoning a city's water supply. But the citizens were relentless in trying to get to the truth. They were the ones that pushed and pushed and pushed and contributed to the reporting that I did, just as Mark Edwards contributed. I looked at us as being a team. And I don't know, traditional journalists would probably maybe frown upon the approach that we took, but I just saw it as figuring out a way to pursue the story and get to the truth. You saw 1 year ago, no one was paying too much attention to those people marching in through Flint saying, "Stop poisoning our children." Now everybody in America is aware of the potential for the problem with lead in their water, and there's a heightened sense of scrutiny going around to the whole issue. And it all came about because people were determined to get to the truth. And Flint is an example of a lot of things, but top on that list is what a powerful thing the truth is when it's unleashed. And they did it, and I am so happy to, and humbled really, to be able to accept this award on behalf of everybody who worked to get the truth out about the water in Flint. Thank you, everybody.